Okay, what's the problem?
Is uh I found there are a lot of changes in my neighborhood. Like there are more people live there and more shop open, and maybe the government want to, I don't know, just develop some economy. So they just make some places really normal places become a sort of visiting point, So there are more strangers come to, I know, take photos. But I feel a little bit annoyed about it because there are a lot of people there. So my question is how to maybe adopt the changes around me. Like I really like the quiet street, before I can walk there and really nice. But now just like everything changes, make me feel, oh, I just don't know how to deal with it, the feeling about it.
So what belief do you have that stimulates you to be annoyed about this?
Maybe like maybe like the sound, is, and even the light before the street when it's late or when it's night, the light just close because it's night. But now maybe because people need the light, I don't know, the light is opening all night, like just yeah.
I want you to imagine this. Let's imagine that you decided to move to a new neighborhood, and you look at all the benefits and costs of the new neighborhood, and you decided it was overall better than your current neighborhood. So you decided to move. But let's imagine also that the new neighborhood had the same level of busyness and lights and everything as your current neighborhood. Okay.
Uh-huh.
But
Okay.
you look at everything, all the costs and benefits together, and you still decide to move to the new neighborhood. Would you then be annoyed at the lights and the busyness and stuff in a new neighborhood or not?
Maybe not. It's yeah, because
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. But somehow, because it's like previously, you didn't have these extra lights and noisiness and stuff like in your neighborhood, and now it changed. You have some sort of belief like it should be the way it was before. Something's unfair here. It was taken away from me, right?
yeah,
the,
yeah,
the government or whoever should not have done that,
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So of course you're gonna living out of that attitude or belief, you're gonna feel like you're the victim, you know?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And um yeah, you can possibly, I mean, you're in a special situation living with your parents, but you can still look freshly. This is the new reality. Okay,
Oh,
look freshly. Okay, are the benefits more to stay here than the cost of leaving, compared to going someplace else? And freshly choose that, you know.
oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And on top of that, you could start to ask the question, what are the benefits of these changes? Or how could I create some benefits out of these new changes, Or how could I
Oh,
look at this a different way than the default way I'm looking at it, you know? Like maybe there's
yeah.
some benefits or gifts in this that that I that I haven't seen or that I could see, know?
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
with that attitude, instead of sort of like you're almost like, do you know the word the confirmation bias? Or you remember with that about that bias, confirmation bias?
No.
Yeah, it's a common type of error that our mind makes. That when we believe something, we look for evidence to support our belief. We don't look for evidence to possibly disprove what we already believe.
Yeah.
We'll not look for the evidence, and we'll even argue with or ignore that evidence, even if it exists, but we'll look for evidence. So if you have the belief, this should not be, then you're likely to just look for evidence that it shouldn't be, and you can get agreement from others and stuff like that. You can have, get people aligned with you. This shouldn't be this way, In contrast, if you start looking for evidence, why maybe it should be this way? What's the gift in this? What could be the gift in this? How could I make a gift out of this? You might be surprised at what you find.
Yeah. I never think about it. Yeah.
I don't know whether you were in my class. I sort of did this, I think, more near the end of my classes when, every Sunday, that I held in Kunming. But one of the common demonstrations I would do with somebody near the end of my class is I ask usually a young woman to stand up, and I would take, I think usually her, I would take her right wrist in my left hand, and then I would ask her to imagine that I had a big knife, in English we say a machete. Okay, you no longer have a right arm. All right. So now, tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up and notice you no longer have a right arm. How are you going to feel about it? And of course, the common response is, "Oh, it's so terrible. My life is over. Why did this happen to me?" Like that, And I said, "Oh, you'd be pretty unhappy, right?" And
Yeah.
I said, "Well, there's a lot of people who don't have right arms in the world, and they're happy enough. Why aren't you happy?"
Yeah.
And it's because they're thinking that whatever was before should continue to be, and there's something wrong if reality changes, and then typically even psychologists agree with this. Oh, it usually takes about 3 years. You go through denial, you go through anger, you go through feeling of betrayal, and then finally 3 years later you can be happy again.
Yeah.
Instead of, this is the new reality. Sure, maybe you can learn how to get a lot, but you can look for the benefits of only having one arm.
Yeah.
A lot of benefits to that. And then maybe you can get an artificial arm, whatever. But it's like at least for now, you don't have an arm, right?
Yeah, sure.
I know this is a real dramatic example compared to your example, but the principle is the same. Can you see?
Yeah.
Reality changed. Oh, it's not the same as before. It should be the same as before. Somebody must be to blame. Oh, yes, the government.
Yeah.
So, also that we also have that tendency, like, if something is not the way it should be, or there's some problem or whatever, then somebody must be to blame. We got to find somebody,
Yeah.
and usually it's not us. Usually it's somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay. So how are you feeling right now about these new lights and more noise around your area?
I start to think some, advantages about it. Yeah. Like like you can avoid to get the the dog shit on your shoes because the light is
That's
light
true.
is on. Yeah.
That's a pretty good benefit if you go out walking at night. Yeah, less likely to get the dog shit on your shoes, right?
Yeah.
China is a very safe place already compared to a lot of places in the world. But in America, we would think, oh, if you have street lights on, there's less likelihood of crime, or stuff like that. I don't know if that would be such a benefit in China because usually you probably felt safe before walking in the dark, right, around your neighborhood.
Yeah, more safe. Yeah.
Yeah, right. But now you can see things,
Yeah.
Yeah, and um, and if you have a new job opportunity. You have people, maybe tourists come to your area. Hey, would you like a guided tour? I only charge 100 RMB per hour.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on that?
No.
Thank you for that. Yeah.